and welcome to Energy Top Up, packed with easy to follow resilience-based interventions for your inner strength and for building confidence. I'm chartered psychologist Dr. Audrey Tang, and with me is the lovely award-winning parent and family coach Sharon Lawton.
Oh, thank you, Audrey. It's fantastic to be back with you again this week, bringing you lots more strategies and tips. Now, those of you that were with us last week, you will remember we had a competition and we challenged you to try out any of our strategies and any of our tips and post them on our feed and let us know how you were getting on. Well, I'm pleased to say that we have a winner, and I'm really pleased to announce that Mason Moller did the raisin challenge, the dancing raisins challenge, all part of the scientific experiment over on our channel on YouTube. So if you haven't checked that out yet, have a look. There's fantastic science tutorials on there as well as other things. His mum also posted that she was using the praise ideas that we also posted as she'd been writing praise messages on heart. So well done, both of you. One of my packs is on the way. We also heard from a lady called Abby Gill. Now, Abby Gill was so taken with our worry monsters up here that she bought 2 worry monsters for her niece and nephew, and they have been using them too and been finding them absolutely so helpful at the moment. So we're so pleased about that we also decided that we would love to share a resource pack with them too. So that's fantastic news, and they will be winging their way to you sometime this week. So well done and congratulations, everybody.
Brilliant. It was so good to see those entries. And also last week, Sharon did say that we would also be giving prizes to the best adaptations. Now, what came as a bit of a surprise was talking to our editor and from you as well. You said, well, actually, I think we're already doing a lot of resilience building and well-being training ourselves, but we don't formalize it. And that's absolutely right. While Sharon and I teach formal and structured activities and interventions you can do, simply having a cup of tea, if it makes you feel refreshed and gets you back to work feeling a little bit more focused, that is looking after your well-being, so stop feeling guilty about it. What we heard was that Patsy Wright, she has been working on Sharon's 5 things I like about myself and has turned that into a collage. And Judith Crozier has been reflecting and reframing a lot more since starting to watch the show and get involved in all of the things we're doing. So well done to you two. 2 books will be on their way. And special mention to Rob and to Kath, who have been breaking up the intensity in their day with doing a bit of DIY, and it looks fantastic. So the key thing is, if it works for you, it makes you more energized, keep doing it. Well done, guys.
So it's absolutely great, isn't it, when we can recognize that our energy boosting things that we do every day isn't something in addition, taking on another task in our busy lives. It's something that we're already doing. So that's fantastic. And that's all about reframing too. So if stopping for that cup of tea every half an hour or once a day or whenever it is something that is refreshing you, because self-care isn't selfish. Self-care is important. It helps not just to top up our own reserves, but it helps to take care of others too. What do you think, Audrey?
Absolutely right, Sharon. Really focusing on ourselves is so important. And that's why this week we wanted to look at being authentically us. It takes between 3 to 7 seconds for someone to make a judgment on us. And therefore, sometimes we do work or say or wear or do things in order to make that judgment as favorable as possible. And there are good reasons for this. Professionally, sometimes you need to make that judgment count. But as a special treat for the team as well today, we are all wearing or not wearing something which may make you think a little bit differently about us to start with, but hopefully just keep listening, don't judge, and you'll get just as much great information. And that's the same as our challenge to use. And this is what the warm-up is this week. I want you to visualize a time where you were feeling completely authentically you. Whatever that time was, think about where you were, who you were with, maybe what you were saying. What were you wearing? Can you make that image really vibrant? Make the sounds of that really loud. Make the smells or any tastes or whatever that might be, the sensations that you had, make them really rich and really full. And if there are any things that you were doing, or any colours, or anything that you feel that you particularly think, yeah, that really makes me feel good and makes me feel like me, I want you to try and capture that this week. I would like you either to wear something, or wear a colour, or do something, or maybe see someone online that really makes you feel like you, and do that unapologetically, because it's okay to feel like us and express ourselves. And now, back to you, Sharon.
Thank you so much, Audrey. Now, this week I want to share with you something a little bit different. Now, we're in a time of lockdown, a really unprecedented time at the moment. And during that time, actually, we're often either on our own at home, or maybe in the home with a family, where maybe the time that we're spending together is much more intense than perhaps we would normally. So I want to share with you something really special, and I absolutely love this. It's called the 5 love languages. Now, we're going through, as I said, an unprecedented time, and it's a time of a big life transition. And using something like love languages really helps the communication in any relationship, either whether it's within the family or just between couples. So I really want you to have a listen carefully to how love languages actually work. We have 5 ways that we love and appreciate others, the ways that we express love and appreciation, and the way that we want to receive love and appreciation is in 5 ways. And those 5 ways are physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, the giving and receiving of gifts, and acts of service. They're the 5. Now, up until about 7 years old, we need all of those in about equal measure to know that we are loved and appreciated. But as we start to grow, develop, and we develop our emotional literacy and we become more confident in ourselves, we tend to have what he calls a primary language, a primary way in which we give and know, or we want to receive, love and appreciation. Now, you might think that most people would be the same, particularly if we're in the same family. But it's really interesting to note that just because we fall in love with somebody, just because we're living with somebody and have a relationship with them, just because we have children, that their love languages might be the same, and they're not. So we go around busily showing love and appreciation in the way that we like to receive it. The problem is, if someone's love language is different, well, what's happening is we are miscommunicating. And communication, for me, is the glue that holds us all together in any relationship. My primary love language is quality time. I know that the people that I love and care for, that I want to spend quality time with them. That's how I show them that I love and care for them. But actually, my partner, my husband, his primary love language is words of affirmation. And so it's very easy for us to miscommunicate. So if I don't, for example, say thank you maybe for emptying the dishwasher, he might feel taken for granted. And so now we know each other's primary love language. We make an effort to make sure that we communicate and step into each other's primary love language to make sure that we feel that we are cared for. Now, that's exactly the same with children too. My eldest son, his primary love language is acts of service. And so when he was doing his A-levels, what I used to do is I used to tidy his room for him, or I would make his favourite meal, just so that he felt like he was loved and cared for. So start to notice what your partner or what your child, your children, your family are asking for the most. Are they asking for your time the most? Are they asking you to do things with them the most? Are they always wanting to touch you? I once had a colleague who said that their child was always walking really, really close to them. And it's because they wanted to touch. So, is it about physical touch? So some little ideas. So if you or your family and you notice that it's all about touch, then maybe sort of holding hands, ruffling of hair, having a family hug, a special family hug might be the thing. If it's words, leave little notes of sort of thank you or little love letters around, or notes on people's pillows just to say thank you. Compliment them, little note on their mirror. If it's quality time, maybe it's about having breakfast together, and that's what we do. Every Sunday morning, we have breakfast together as a family because that's about my quality time. So have a think. If you want to know a little bit more, jump on the website 5lovelanguages.com and you can do your own profile and your families can do a profile too. So have a go at that this week. We'd love to know how you get on. Have you done it?
I have, and actually it was looking at your piece on your Instagram page, which is at Sharon at Flair. I did the profile and I noticed that because I'm a writer, it seems quite natural that I'm words of affirmation, but my husband is quality time and acts of service. And whilst there wasn't necessarily friction, it has allowed us to communicate a lot better. So it's absolutely brilliant. I love it, love it. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, now sticking with the idea of focusing on where we are, where we're going, and perhaps who we're going with, I would like to introduce a storyboard exercise to you. Now, this is something that was given to me by Welcome Break, who was doing storyboards to celebrate International Women's Day by storyboarding a lot of the journeys of some of the women in their company. And this is the exercise. What I'd like you to do is, I want you to ask yourself 7 questions. And as you can see, you don't need to present it necessarily like a collage or a poster, but you ask yourself 7 questions and have a picture that goes with them. And these are the questions. The first is, where are you now? That's looking at where you are right now. What is it you're doing? What is it you're proud of? Where are you now? But then I want you to go back to thinking about where it all began. Because sometimes where you started may not be where you are right now. You may not have expected to get to where you are right now. You may have expected to do something completely different. And our lifestyles where we began may be very different to where we are now. And little secret tip there, that can help you with your love languages as well if you start reflecting on that. Then look at how you got to where you are, because all of us will have got there, yes, through hard work, but usually with support and lots of opportunities and so on. So I want you to think about how you got to where you are. Next, think about what motivates and inspires you. It might be a person, it might be a characteristic, it might be a thing, whatever it might be, note it down. And then what you've learned from that as well. The 6th one is what challenges came along, and you've got motivates, learned, highs, lows, and challenges. Now, those 3 are really important because whenever we want to try and push ourselves to do something new, it can be quite difficult to get the motivation to keep going. So knowing what motivates and inspires, knowing what we've learned in the past, and knowing how we've overcome all our lows, our challenges, and to celebrate the highs can really push us through that. And the last part of that storyboard is, what does the future hold? What's your goal? What is it that you want to achieve in future? Now, don't forget, it doesn't have to be something that you 100% have to achieve, because life takes us, as you can see, on a journey in lots of different directions. So it's okay to have an aim, but if it changes, that's fine too. Life is a wonderful, exciting journey or road to go on, and it's great to be able to explore all of those different possibilities with the many different people that you love and that you're happy to have in your life. So that is the storyboard task, and this is so important because we're not in competition, exactly as Sharon said, with anybody else. If you want to be in competition, just try and be a little bit better than you were the day before. Always be the best you and not the second best someone else. And this storyboard will chart your journey and celebrate it. Back to you, Sharon.
Oh, Audrey, that's fantastic. I love that concept of storyboards and actually those questions. I've done a little bit of like vision boards, for sort of like goal setting, but actually that's a lovely tool. I think I'm going to have a go at that myself, maybe even use it with some clients. So yeah, so that's lovely. It's just great to learn off each other, isn't it?
Totally.
So having to think about what Audrey was just saying, sort of brings me to sort of my next sort of point of today, really. So if you're anything like me, I've actually been reflecting on the fact that I've been scrolling through social media much more than I would normally do. Maybe it's because I've got a little bit more time on my hands because of lockdown. But social media is a part of my everyday life. As Audrey says, I've got very sort of busy YouTube channel and also the social media channels as well. So I'm forever posting and I have a look at what other people are doing, just like you guys do. So I have my business posts and I also have my personal posts. We want to be the best that we can be, our best authentic selves. But if we start to look at what other people are doing and we're feeling a little bit low, as I say, we start to think, oh gosh, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. And if we're really not careful, because social media is very one-dimensional, we only see what other people want us to see, we can start to compare unhealthily and think to ourselves, am I the only one who isn't got the perfect family playing board games every night? Am I the only person who is not using this time to learn a new skill and start to speak a different language? Am I the only person who is not creating fantastic cakes every week and doing baking from scratch? All of these are examples of what I've seen online. But if we feel that we are starting to slip into that comparison and saying, look at what they're doing and I'm not as good as, that needs to be another red flag for you really to sort of like to step back a little bit. And you know what? It's okay to step back. It's okay to switch off sometimes. It's okay not to get sucked into what everybody else is doing. Concentrate on what you're doing. Concentrate on what you are doing as a person, the contribution that you are making in the workplace from home. Concentrate from the fact that actually you're doing okay, thank you very much. If it means that the fact that you got up that day and you managed to, get yourself organized and sat at your workplace at your home and have continued a pretty good working day, well, do you know what? That's okay. It's okay that we just manage to get up in the morning sometimes and get all the children ready and done a little bit of homeschooling in the morning. But concentrate on what you can do and concentrate on what you are doing. So I hope that's been helpful. As I say, social media can be a real blessing, but it can also, if we not keep those energy reserves topped up, can also start to drain us too.
Now, Kirsty's homeschool has also been looking at ways to express yourself. And this is also ways to express yourself, as Sharon said last week, when we don't have the words to say when something's wrong. So over to Kirsty.
Hello Audrey, lovely to see you again. This week, as you're all fully aware, we have been looking at expressing ourselves. And I thought we'd have a little look at what Rosie's been doing. Rosie, as you can see, isn't in her usual gear. Rosie is in her ballet uniform. Do you want to give a twirl? Do you want to do a ballet twirl? Mm-hmm. Go on then. Rosie loves ballet and has been missing it terribly, and her ballet school have now done a online tutorial for them where she can see her friends from ballet and they can all do a full class together, and this is something that Rosie is really enjoying doing. Rosie loves to dance. Rosie will dance given any opportunity. Rosie will always sing as well. You will often get Let It Go or some form of Disney rendition coming from her bedroom at random. Again, another way of expressing herself. I have a feeling she gets that from me. Given any opportunity, I will. I will sing in the kitchen when I'm cooking. Different moments throughout the day. Someone might say something in the house and there is nearly a Disney song for every sentence that you can think of, so I will sing a line back. It's become part of our routine, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we will sing a lot, won't we? There are obviously other ways of expressing yourself. There are ways of crafting that you can do to make, crafting is a way of expressing yourself. You can make things that look beautiful, putting things in the garden. It's good fun, isn't it? There is another way that you can see Edward doing. Edward, when he gets nervous or he needs comfort, he will grab one of his favourite cuddly toys. And he will snuggle up to it and he will just take comfort from that. And I generally know that when I see this particular toy come up, that Eddie needs that little bit more TLC that day. And, you know, that's when we know that he may be feeling that particular way. So, you know, there's so many different ways of expressing ourselves. And these are just a few that we've got here. And I'm sure there's more that you've got as well. Show me some of your activities that you've done, different ways of expressing yourself. It'd be lovely to see some more dances. It doesn't have to be ballet. It'd be lovely to see some more of you doing some different expressive dances. So we hope that you all have a wonderful day. There will be a clip just coming up now of Rosie showing you her beautiful ballet, and we will see you again next week. Back to the studio.
Thank you so much, Kirsty. Really lovely to see Rosie doing her dancing, and it's so great to have that little soft toy that Edward can pick up, which sends that message to say he needs a little bit of extra TLC. Thank you so much. Well, we are heading towards the end of the show, and so it's back to Sharon for our cool down.
Oh, thanks, Audrey. The time's just flown this afternoon, hasn't it? Amazing. The other thing that I really love as part of my quick reflection, cool down, mindfulness, if I feel that I'm moving into that area, is to step outside and just close my eyes just for a couple of seconds and just tune in to what's going on around me. What can I hear? And it's incredible when you shut down the other senses and you just use your sense of hearing, what you can actually hear. So have a go at that. It's a beautiful cool down. You can use it at any time. But as I say, lots and lots of different ideas, and there's just a couple for you to try. Thanks very much, and back to you, Audrey.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sharon. So we are leaving you now with Reverend Mandy Mariott of the Dustin Parish for her thought for the week. And this week she is focusing on why it's important to reserve judgment and not prejudge just on appearances. So this week, be strong, be yourselves, and be proud of who you are, and tune in again where Sharon and I will be back next week with more resilience-based interventions. Bye for now.
Bye.
Hello again. I wonder if any of you remember the very first episode of The Vicar of Dibley, shown all those years ago. Well, Geraldine arrives and is met by David with the expectation that the new vicar will be a man. As she takes off her coat, he doesn't immediately see her clerical collar and says, "Unless you're the vicar and they've landed us with a woman as some sort of insane joke." Well, we all laughed at David's preconceived ideas. But we all have them, don't we? And we all make assumptions about people based on their appearance, their voice, or their situation. But we know, as the saying goes, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. In other words, we may be doing someone a great disservice by making assumptions about them. And indeed, the Bible encourages us to show hospitality to strangers. For some who have done this have entertained angels without realizing it. Well, I'd like to tell you a story today that highlights this very point about not making assumptions. It's a story set at Christmas time, but its relevance is for us at any time and anywhere. It was a bright Christmas morning, and after travelling all through the night, my exhausted family and I pulled up at a diner. We were desperate for breakfast. My husband and my son were the only family in the place. I heard my 18-month-old Sammy shout with glee, "Hi there!" His fat baby hands banged on the back of the chair. "Hi there!" His face was alive with excitement, and he grinned from ear to ear. I stretched my neck to see what was causing my son so much excitement, and I scarce could take it in. There he stood, filthy, greasy and worn, with a wrinkled, weathered face. "Hi there, baby boy." My husband and I exchanged a look that was a cross between "what do we do?" and "poor soul." Our meal arrived and we tried to settle Sammy, but he fussed as the street person shouted across the room, "Do you want to play peekaboo? Come on then, let's play peekaboo." Sammy kept laughing and trying to talk to the man. Nobody really thought it was cute. The chap was obviously drunk and really an embarrassment. My husband wolfed down his food, headed for the door, and then said tensely, "Let's get out of here." As I grabbed my son and tried to get out of the restaurant without having eye contact with the elderly man, Sammy was wriggling and leaned over me with his arms outstretched. All of a sudden, Sammy propelled himself from my arms to his. It all happened in a split second, and suddenly a very old man and a very young baby met. As Sammy put his head on the old man's ragged shoulder, the man's eyes closed and tears welled around his lashes. His aged hands, full of grime and pain and hard labour, gently, ever so gently, cradled my baby. I was awestruck. The old man rocked my baby back and forth, and then opened both his eyes and looked seriously at me. "You take care of this baby now." "I will," I muttered awkwardly. He prized Sammy from his chest and placed him in my arms and addressed me. "God bless you, ma'am. You've given me a Christmas gift." I think I muttered thanks. With Sammy in my arms, I ran for the car. My husband was wondering why I was crying and holding Sammy so tightly, and why I was saying, "My God, please forgive me." So let's not make judgments. Let's welcome the stranger in our midst. Bye for now.